Oh, yes. Hit that like, everybody. It's going to be a tight show tonight. Y'all, some tight, tight. Let's get started. Hold on one second. I got distracted for a second. Here we come. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks, Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Patreon.com/HalSparks, etc., etc., etc. Now, today's show will only be an hour because I've got to catch a goddamn plane. And I was going to try and stretch it out to the absolute, end of the regular 2-hour show, but I will miss my flight. I just know it. And I cannot because I'm red-eyeing as it is. So, wish me luck. Flying to Atlanta. tonight for Sexy Liberal tomorrow. We've got a show. We got a meet and grope. I'm doing radio from there tomorrow. So God help us. Wish me luck on that one as well. And then flying back butt early on Sunday morning like the maniac that I am. But in the meantime, hello chat room. Let's Vance. Fucking a moon pie, a serious moon pie. All right. And if you say hi, I'll with you. Let's Vance. Watching the dolphin violates woman. Okay, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, because the news is so fast and furious right now, let's Vance. Apparently, not too long ago. Well, here's the thing. I'll show you right now. JD Vance got busted for searching for a woman being sexed up by a dolphin and liking it. A woman gets violated by a dolphin and enjoys it. Crazy clips. And if you'll notice, when you search for things in the new interwebs, the words will be emboldened to show this is why we picked this, so you know these words were in the thing you were looking for. This is why it came up, woman and dolphin. So he was searching for dolphin porn, and then when he tweeted out maybe the internet was a mistake as a joke. Why? Because you'd rather watch it on VHS at home when no one can find out that you're searching for dolphin porn? Let's Vance! Fucking a moon pie, a serious moon pie. And if you say couch, I'll say love seat. So just thought I'd throw that in there early in the conversation chat room. I don't know whether to laugh or apologize. There will be a lot of that when we deal with JD Vance. He is a bit much. And this goes to, and I'm sure, well, I mean, I'm not sure. That was a long time ago, okay? Let's give the man some credit. This was a long, long time ago. We all did wacky stuff when we were young, way back in February of 2024. Sorry. February of 2024 is right. Hold on. Should I slide this down so you can see it? This is the date right here. You know, a youthful indiscretion. But it happened to anybody who is a public employee now working on his. This is what his constituents in Ohio are paying their senator to do. Yeah, This is a tweet from a sitting U.S. senator from the great state of Ohio, ladies and gentlemen. And look, I understand why, because there are no dolphins in Ohio, so it's not like he can go down to the live dolphin fucking show. He's gotta use the internet to get to it, and it's just limited by geography. Heyo, let's Vance. All right. So every single day, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump's team gets more and more aggravated by the fact that they picked this dipshit. Now, can I address one thing? There is a clip going around of JP Mandel, JT Pants on the Charlie Kirk show, and he's talking about how everybody's making the case, and there's a lot of pearl clutching about how he's making this case that people with no children should pay higher taxes than people with children. And there's a reason why this side of the argument is being shown because of his cat lady comment, his asshole, like childless cat lady bullshit that he just said. Fuck him. Anyways, but can I as the designated Libra of the Democratic Party look at it from another angle that maybe on balance people aren't noticing? Perhaps. Could be, guys. Because there's another angle on this that I think is even more what the fuck. And let me show you what I mean. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the clip. Let me see if you guys can spot what made me go,
I think it's simple, and I'll go back to something I said earlier about we need to reward the things that we think are good and punish the things that we think are bad. So you talk.
By the way, this is exactly how the CCP works. Social credit score. Let's start where we start, okay? You don't even have to fucking search around for this motherfucker to like go, what was it? That little thing he said? Everything he says is fucked up. He's arguing for a social credit score. He's arguing for social construction through taxation. All right, now, next.
Talk about tax policy. Let's tax the things that are bad and not tax the things that are good.
Great. So you're for Bloomberg's soda tax. So we should be taxing junk food and we should be taxing ammunition. How about that? I mean, anybody who's, shooting for self-defense shouldn't need more than 10 bullets, right? So if you're buying under 15 bullets, should be cheaper than if you're buying boxes and boxes of the shit. This social engineering part of this, like because everything else he says in this clip is so fucked up. They're just zipping by the crazy. And it gets worse. Hang out. Look at this.
If you're making $100,000, $400,000 a year, and you've got 3 kids, you should pay a different, lower tax rate than if you're making the same amount of money and you don't have any kids.
All right. Everybody's going, oh my God, this motherfucker wants people without children to pay more taxes than people who have children. Motherfucker, he just argued for the child tax credit. No, it's even dumber than that. It's even while he's busy arguing that people without children should pay higher taxes. Yes, on top of this dumb motherfucker is arguing for the child tax credit. What? What? How is everybody missing this? Hey, you dumb son of a bitch. What the fuck? Why is no one pointing that out online? What? Huh? Listen to it again. What?
You're making $100,000, $400,000 a year, and you've got 3 kids, you should pay a different, lower tax rate than if you're making the same amount of money and you don't have any kids.
Yes, that is exactly the Biden-Harris position. What? Look, I get it. I get that it is horribly offensive and shitty that he's saying that people without children should have to pay a higher tax rate. That is true. But don't miss the fact that he's being bigoted and stupid. That's all I ask.
It's that simple.
I totally agree.
And Charlie Kirk agrees that there should be a child tax credit. Look at this. Bridges are being built, ladies and gentlemen, if I may. Thank you very much, and you're welcome, and fuck off. Now, it's amazing. You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. I'm keeping the show as high and tight as I possibly can. But I had to address that shit. I had to. Because that sometimes when these clips make the rounds, this narrative gets out, like everybody's narrative gets out over its skis, and it's, they're pointing something out that's very important, but they miss dozens of other areas where the policy is either a lie, never existed or never will. They don't actually believe in it. They're specifically advocating on the down low for the opposite, right? We almost get like it's almost like the overt sexism, racism, and bigotry is such a big red flag. We miss like the thousands of Monty Python red flags just going at the ground level. Jesus Christ. Hi, chat room. Love you guys. You're wonderful. Don't forget. Don't forget. Hit the like, subscribe, share the show, all that stuff. And you can clip the show. I would recommend clipping that first segment, that little point, and share that out. with people. I'd do it, but I got to catch a plane. All right, now let's jump straight into, where is it? There you go. We're not gonna have time for that. We'll have time for that. Okay, so dipshit, let's pants. All right. JD Pants was on Megyn Kelly's show because I don't know if you know this, but Megyn Kelly is I would argue a survivor of brutal sexual harassment in her workplace. And it was carried out on the daily by a really good friend of Donald Trump's. Just saying. So I can understand why she would want to have this guy on and go, hey, why in the ever-loving shit would you ever want to work with a scumbag like Donald Trump? So thanks, Megyn Kelly. Not even gonna, doesn't even apply. I don't know what I'm doing. This is what happens when I read and talk at the same time when the chat room is going by. Melonhead. Yeah, that's what this is. Megyn Kelly is having this guy to take Vance to task. Make things easier for working mothers. He says, yes, one of the things that might make it easier for them is to not be sexually harassed at work. Yeah. Here we go.
Where I think it gets controversial and where, your attacks are coming in from.
Sure.
It was this piece where you then talked about the relative value of voting, of a person's voting rights.
Okay, I think she's dealing with this clip.
A parent versus somebody who isn't. Here's that piece of the original remarks and stuff for.
The Democrats are talking about giving the vote.
Oh, this is just another place where he said this shit.
To 16-year-olds, but let's do this instead. Let's give votes to all children in this country, but let's give control over those votes to the parents of those children.
And if they want to marry their youth pastor, that they should have the vote. Let's argue that parents can sell their children. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know. Also, I don't know where the applause is coming from on this. It's just silly. Also, Democrats are not trying to give 16-year-olds the right to vote.
When you go to the polls in this country as a parent, you should have more power. You should have more of an ability to speak your voice in our democratic republic than people who don't have kids. Let's face the consequences and the reality. And all the usual suspects will criticize me about this in the coming days. Well, doesn't this mean that non-parents don't have as much of a voice as parents? Doesn't this mean that parents get a bigger say in how our democracy functions? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot that's wrong with that. Never mind the fact that there's a myriad of reasons why people don't have children. Or let's say you want to have children, but you want the country to be run in such a way that it is, say, safe for them. Maybe they're not having kids because they're worried of what they might get killed, or the food might be poison, or the water is unsafe, or the neighborhood is terrible, and so they're voting to change those things so that one day they may be able to safely have children and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to people in the rural areas that just punt them out and wind them up and turn them loose.
So do you stand by that?
Well, Megan, look, I'm obviously doing a thought experiment there where Democrats have talked about giving children the right to vote. And I'm saying,
no, they haven't.
Well, if we're going to give children the right to vote, shouldn't we give parents the say over how that vote, in so many other areas of life, we say that parents determine what's best for their children. If we're going to give kids the right to vote, it might as well be true in that scenario, too. So
yeah, it's just bullshit. Just leave it. Go. That was a thought experiment. I was being sarcastic about what they were positing. Don't carry it forward like you really mean it, because you do, and people will realize, wow, you're a fucking lunatic.
I think, again, the point that I'm trying to make here, Megan, is that having kids is a profoundly life-altering thing. It's a fundamentally good thing, and the Democratic Party has become very anti-child in their messaging and in their public policy. That is what I want to change, and that is what I think the Republican...
Well, hang the fuck out. you praised Alex Jones, okay, asshole, who said that Sandy Hook didn't even fucking happen. How are we the ones that are profoundly anti-child and against kids because we don't want them shot to pieces? Good Lord.
Party stands for. We're the party of parents, we're the party of kids, and we want to fight for parents and children to have good lives. I have to say, Megan, just
define good life. You know, free of those people over there in their neighborhood.
one of the things that's been profoundly dishonest about the media, and of course they're dishonest, they always do this, but they've taken this incredibly out of context. They say that I'm opposed to IVF or that I'm criticizing people who have fertility problems.
Okay, first of all, fucko, you are. You're against. Let me tell you something about the pro-life movement. It is consistent in the pro-life movement to be against IVF. You cannot be pro-life the way they talk about it, the euphemistic pro-life. You cannot be pro-life like that and still be pro-IVF, because IVF means a bunch of eggs are fertilized and only a couple of them get a chance to actually grow into kids. The rest of them are disposed of. Okay? So if you believe life begins at conception, and that's your argument, and that is his argument, then you cannot ever be for IVF. You can't. Don't pretend that's not your line. That is absolutely your fucking line. If you believe life begins at conception, which is what he's arguing, then the conceived eggs that are there, that are made during the IVF procedure, those are alive and have to be carried to term. Don't fuck with us, man. We're paying attention.
Megan, I said explicitly in my remarks that I wasn't talking about people who couldn't have children. I was talking about people who have turned anti-child into the ethic of their entire party. That's a fundamentally different thing.
If they're anti-child and that's the ethic of their party, why would they give kids the right to vote so they'd have a say in their lives earlier? How do you give kids the right to vote if there are no kids?
And it's obvious that the Democrats don't want to own up to the fact that their party has become very anti-family. You have Hollywood celebrities saying, oh, well, J.D. Vance, what if your daughter suffered fertility problems? Well, first of all, that's disgusting because my daughter is 2 years old. And second of all,
when she grows up, you dumb motherfucker, what are you going to do? Keep her two forever, you weirdo?
if she had fertility problems, as I said in that speech, I would try everything I could to try to help her because I believe families and babies are a good thing. That's the whole point, is if you believe families and babies are a good thing, you should be trying to promote life. You should try to promote the fact that we want to have a good family policy in this country.
Yeah, but you are against IVF. I want to do everything I can except IVF because you conceive a bunch of human beings and they are disposed of, according to that. So come out and say you're pro-IVF and watch the hardcore evangelicals tell you to go fuck yourself.
That is what's so profoundly wrong about where the Democrats have gone. And I think we have to fight back against this, Megan. I think a lot of people, the media has been attacking me and this is how it goes. We cannot give up an inch on this. We're the pro-family party. I think I want to keep us that way.
You think? Oh, what the fuck is that? We're the pro-family party. I think I want to keep us that way as the man of the house.
Just to, I would like to talk about the IVF because as far as I understand it, you oppose the Democrats' bill on IVF, like allowing it in all the states, but also providing funding through everybody's insurance for it, which is more controversial. But you supported Ted Cruz's and Katie Britt's bill to protect IVF, if my memory is correct. But I guess I'll just ask you now, where do you stand on IVF?
Well, first of all, Megan, I know beautiful children. I mean, kids that play at my house with my kids that have been brought into the world through IVF. Of course, we want to make it easier for moms and dads to choose life if of course, they're in a terrible situation where they have fertility problems. I think the problem with the Democrats' approach on this is they're trying to take away religious liberty. And you just go back to Kamala Harris, Megan. This is a...
What? Religious liberty? Why would the existence of IVF or the fact that it would be provided for in insurance be against religious liberty? If you're for it and you're pro-life for religious reasons, wouldn't that be a violation of your beliefs? Therefore, what are your beliefs? Oh, wait, you don't have any.
Person, of course, who's tried to say that members of the Knights of Columbus should not serve in public office. This is a person who's tried to say that Catholic hospitals and Christian hospitals should have to do IVF in the way the Democrats want them to do it. I'm talking about religious liberty here. I think we...
What? What? Do you think the U.S. somebody in the Democratic Party believes that a member of the Knights of Columbus, which is, by the way, the Catholic version of the Freemasons, because the Catholic Church put a bull on Freemasonry a long time ago because it's religiously secular and allows all religions in. So, anyways, you do realize the president is actually Catholic, right? And actually goes to Mass, and actually reads the Bible, and actually prays. And you don't, and neither does your brand new fucking dipshit scumbag boss.
We have to protect the rights of Christian hospitals to operate the way that they want to operate. But of course, that's totally consistent with promoting fertility treatments for parents who need it. And I believe in this stuff again.
First of all, no. The treatment being covered does not mean that every hospital is required to have an IVF center. It's a really specific technique to create to help people have children. So it's not going to be like run-of-the-mill like appendectomies, you dumb motherfucker. If they don't have it and they don't hire people to do it, and then they can't provide it.
And because I believe babies are a profound moral good. I think it transforms society. I've seen friends of mine become totally different people when they became fathers.
Yeah, okay. There's a big thing about North versus the South in that in the North, adults make children, and in the South, children make adults. And that's where you got a bunch of fucking lame-ass redneck scallywags running about, and then they finally get a baby, and just having to keep the fucking thing alive turns them into a grown-up. Right? That's partly what it's about. It's one of the reasons why people get married young. It's why why it's such a big thing. Like, they hope people, like girls especially, have a baby early so they'll grow the fuck up and not go off and think they can have their own life and put off having kids and go get a goddamn career, like they're the first act of a Reese Witherspoon rom-com, right?
I know my wife would say the same thing about her friends who became mothers. This is a good thing, and I hate that our politics has become so profoundly anti-child.
What the fuck are you talking about? You are against IVF. Let's rotate the fucking spectrum here so we get another angle, another look at this, and understand that Megyn Kelly asked him what his position was on IVF. His position. Do you feel it should be legal or illegal? Is it right? Is it wrong? Should it be allowed? Because what kind of bill will the Trump pants administration, what will you sign off on? Well, will you really reject a nationwide ban on abortion, for example? Or will you just say that and then sign it anyways? Because that's what people think Trump is going to do. As a matter of fact, there's no fucking question at all he's going to do that.
I want to change that, Megan. I'm going to keep on fighting on this.
And honestly, so profoundly pro-victim. I have seen, but it's yet another instance in which you see all these left-wing politicians, people rush to play the victim in response to these comments, right? Like,
yes.
Mark Kelly and Gabby Giffords, who were not included in the scope of your remarks. You did not name them, but they've rushed, of course, because he's being considered reportedly for her VP, for her running mate. And so they ran out to offer the following comment. And, Jennifer Aniston was another, like taking issue, as I mentioned in the intro, as if your comments were about her personally. But
they are. You can't, wait a minute. You can't make a broad statement as the potential vice president of the United States. Somebody who's actually running to be the vice president. This isn't some random fuck on the internet that got piled on. He wants to be one heartbeat away from the most unhealthy president we would ever fucking have. Right? And he makes a broad, and by the way, not even just a moral judgment, which is shitty on its face. He says that tax policy should be designed based on this. They didn't jump on his fucking throat because how dare he speak his mind. He's going to make decisions that will affect their lives. And he has this shitty, low-end, bigoted, misogynistic bullshit attitude towards a huge chunk of the American populace, with no respect for why they don't have kids or whether they might in the future, or the fact that they tried and couldn't. And he wants to, and you notice he dodged that question, he wants to cut off one of the avenues by which those very women he has castigated might eventually be able to have children. He wants to get rid of IVF, and he fucking dodged it in the last question. So fuck you, Megyn Kelly, in this bullshit. And why are you not calling him out for working with a sexist who grabbed women by the pussy and bragged about it, who barged in on 15-year-old girls while they were changing? Harris Kelly 2024.
I'll say something to Jennifer Aniston. You know what? I don't know what your child situation is, but you should read this piece in the New York Times. You should read this piece.
Why are you telling someone to read the fake New York Times, Megyn Kelly?
It says as follows: liberal conventional wisdom encourages people to spend their 20s on journeys of personal and professional self-discovery and self-fulfillment. Children are treated as a bonus round, something to get to only after completing a long list of achievements, getting a degree, forging a satisfying and well-established career, buying a house, cultivating the ideal romantic partnership, and making the point that this is an empty life, that without the ultimate goal of children, you are not, they write as follows.
Sorry, I didn't realize James Dobson was writing for the New York Times.
Having children remains the most basic and accessible way for most of us to affirm the value of our lives and that of others. And if you realize that too late, you might be feeling bitter. You might find yourself in a situation where you have no choice but IVF because your most fruitful childbearing years.
And he's going to make sure you don't have that option. Back the fuck up. He didn't answer your question, Megyn. I don't give a shit what's in that article. Because ultimately, once they decide they've got a serious relationship and they're deeply in love and it's a long-lasting relationship, which is the best way, according to everybody, to raise children, right? They went through the process. They have a satisfying, fruitful, and financially successful life. Then they go to have children, and then, oh my God, they might need some help having a child. They might need IVF to do it. And this motherfucker wants to turn off that tap and deny them the ability because they will have to jettison 8, 10, 15 embryos, maybe 30 over the course of the process to see if they can ultimately have kids.
Past you. It's a choice every woman has to make. It's not anybody else's fault if you choose to pursue career and find yourself in that situation. As frankly, I did, but I got lucky and IVF worked for me. Okay.
Yeah. And he now thinks Megyn Kelly is a sinner. Megyn Kelly is according to this dumb motherfucker, a multiple murderer. I don't know how many eggs they had to toss out after she was successfully able to have a child, and good for her. But whatever, all those eggs, that's a human life she murdered, according to this dipshit. Period. I mean, it's not even debatable. That's what he thinks of IVF.
So in any event, I want to go back because
Sure.
Look at that, just fucking not even a nod, just this like disgusted blink at her.
Gabby Giffords and Mark Kelly are taking aim at you, saying as follows. Gabby Giffords, of course, was shot in a terrible mass shooting incident in which she was the target several years ago, and she's married to Mark Kelly, former
Yeah, she took a bullet for democracy.
astronaut, now senator. She writes,
Astronaut? What does he do for a living? Hold on 1 second.
several years ago, and she's married to Mark Kelly, former astronaut, now senator.
Former astronaut? Oh. Sorry. Guys, it's time to have the conversation with Megan. She mispronounced a word, and I screwed up a little bit ago when I was speaking, but I, because I'm young and vibrant, I was able to recover, recognize my mistake, and correct myself in the moment and let you know that I was aware that I had misspoke. And that, that's crucial to understanding a healthy mind. However, Megan, it might be time. It might be time to retire the Georgia O'Keeffe backdrop and hop on an ice floe. I'm sure Sarah Palin can tell you, how to get to one and which direction to go. But it is sad. I just think it's dangerous now. I think the fact that the show is in the hands of someone who is obviously, clearly in a state of mental decay. This, look, I would never criticize a woman based on age, but clearly J.D. Vance, by participating in this interview, is committing elder abuse.
She writes, Vice President Kamala Harris is a proud mom of 2 remarkable stepchildren, and so am I. Captain Mark Kelly and I were trying to have a baby through IVF before I was shot, and that dream was stolen from us. To suggest we are somehow lesser is disgraceful.
Yeah, and by the way, they were incapable of having a child, so they didn't even bring a life in, so all of the children they murdered in the process are on their eternal Christian headstone or whatever the fuck.
How do you
their St. Peter's list?
Respond to that?
Well, of course, first of all, Kamala Harris, I don't know her family situation. I've read.
Maybe you should, you dumb motherfucker. You're running to be the vice president of the United States. Look, I can talk shit like this all day long because I am doing a live stream show that is comedic and political and deals with stuff that I am very passionate about. So what I say here is in that context. But you can bet your ass that if I was running for office, I wouldn't be speaking of you as the couch fucking dolphin porn wacko you are. I would definitely, I would make my language more presentable because I might be speaking in front of kids and grandparents in that regard, right? Well, kids and grandparents that are, in their mid-40s and swear a lot. Anyways, point being is maybe, just maybe, because you're running for fucking you're running to be vice president, you might know even before she became the presidential candidate what the vice president is all about, because you're goddamn right I'd be a quick study. Oh, you didn't? Someone's come late and didn't see the dolphin porn stuff. You know what? I'm gonna let you guys look. Go watch the beginning of the rewind to the beginning of the show.
In the media that she's got 2 stepkids. I wish her stepchildren and Kamala Harris and her whole family the very best. The point is not that she's lesser. The point is that her party has pursued a set of policies that are profoundly anti-child. These people want to conflate the personal situation here with the fact that I'm making an argument that our entire society has become skeptical and even hateful towards the idea of having kids. I mean, you have young women and young men who say, we don't want to have children because of climate change. We don't want to.
Yeah, that's fear-based. And you have no interest in fixing that problem or even alleviating that fear. You certainly aren't interested in the child tax credit, even though you just argued for it in some sort of backdoor way, you couch fucker.
I have children, of course, because housing prices are too expensive. And that's a concern I take seriously and I think is a very real problem. But people have to.
If you do, then how are you going to solve it? I mean, you can bitch all you want about Democrats being anti-child if that's what you think. It's garbage, but you can believe that. But then if you're saying these are the reasons people don't want to have kids, they're afraid that they're going to bring a child into the world and they're going to die in some sort of like apocalyptic Mad Max wasteland, and you're like, yeah, it's not going to fuck it. It doesn't matter. And then the other one is housing costs are too expensive. Well, then how are you going to bring the cost of housing down? How? How are you going to do it? Say it. Wouldn't that make, if those people are like, can't have kids, I could never afford just the housing and schooling and stuff. Well, we're going to fix that shit. Then get at it, dumbass.
Remember that when you look back on your life.
Also, for the record, I'm a Democrat. I have one child. I'd have 8 if I could. So piss off.
If you talk to people, the thing that they remember most is not their career or their education, it's their family. And I just want us to be a country that's pro-family. Of course, what happened to Gabby Giffords was terrible. I wish her the best. Of course, Kamala Harris has a great family. I wish them all the best. But why are they pursuing a set of policies that make having families harder?
They're not. Why were you against the child tax credit? Why are you against Head Start? Why are you against school lunches? Why are you against all the things that make having kids more expensive, where people who are struggling to start with are like, Jesus Christ, I can barely pay for myself. How am I going to get, how would I take care of a kid properly?
Are they wanting to mask toddlers years into the pandemic? Why are they saying that we should get rid of the child tax credit, which lowers taxes?
I don't know, maybe they want the kid to live. Maybe they're overly cautious. I mean, they're not masking the kid because they're anti-kid. If they were anti-kid, they'd go, fuck it, you get sick, you die. Maybe you're not a keeper, son.
For working families with children. They are creating an anti-family and anti-child society. And I think it's important for Republicans to fight back against this, Megan, and not take the bait here. We wish the best for these people's families, but they should not use their families as a pretext to pursue all these ridiculous anti-family policies.
Well, then you can't use the fact that you have children and they don't to pursue tax breaks for yourself. Right?
For the rest of Americans.
Well, I was going to say, in defense of Kamala Harris and other childless leftists, plenty of leftists with children tried to mask our children interminably and did not care about their own kids suffering or ours.
Suffering with what? COVID? Suffering with the idea that they may have caught it, brought it home, and given it to their grandparents and killed them and lived with that pain for the rest of their lives? Shut the fuck up.
Last comment on this, then we'll move on. The childless cat lady. Would you like to comment on that? That reportedly has many conservative women outraged, though when I clicked on the Newsweek article suggesting as much, I saw 3 quoted.
Look, Megan, I've heard from a lot of conservative women and frankly, a lot of liberal women who
Okay, this is a setup for him to say, I apologize to cats.
Said, I'm actually glad that you pointed out that there's become something profoundly anti-family in our public policy and in our public conversation. Obviously, it was a
first of all, how? How is it anti-family? Look, even the crazy cat lady policies that you're talking about are profoundly pro-child. All these alleged women that are in the Democratic Party, these liberal women that don't have kids and have cats and all that shit, right? That you were denigrating, all of them are seeking a safe school environment for children, right? All of them want school lunches. All of them want Head Start. All of them want, extracurricular activities. All of them want kids safe from gun violence. Even though they aren't their children, that they care about them, in the abstract, something you seem incapable of doing, because to you, having children is simply just a way to make sure that the population of your church stays stagnant.
Sarcastic comment. I've got nothing against cats. I've got nothing against dogs. I've got one dog at home and I love them, Megan. But look, this is not, people are focusing so much on the sarcasm and not on the substance of what I actually said.
First of all, that wasn't sarcasm. It was an insult. It's not sarcasm. Again, look, these words matter. Verbal irony is a functional way of conveying disdain for a particular idea by feigning approval. Sarcasm is just the inverted gainsaying of something. Oh, that's real good, when you clearly believe it is not good. Sarcasm is what idiots have instead of a sense of humor. What most people refer to as sarcasm is actually verbal irony. In this particular case, it was neither. He was being insulting. He was insulting a group of people on purpose. There was no like, there's not even there's no room for a verbal inversion of it at all. He meant it. And maybe he's just too fucking stupid to know what sarcasm is. Maybe that's it. Maybe Trump just told him, tell him it was sarcasm. They always buy it, especially women.
And the substance of what I said, Megan, I'm sorry, it's true. It is true that we become anti-family. It is true that the left has become anti-child.
No, we aren't. No, we are not anti-family. Not at all. But we are accepting of people who do not have a functional, nuclear family. We're not going to throw out fucking orphans. We're not chucking single family households, especially, widowed ones and the like. We're not automatically denigrating a family that doesn't have a mother, a father, and 2.3 kids. Because we're accepting of that variance in it does not mean we're trying to dismantle families that function in the traditional sense. What you are is trying to argue that those are the only families that exist, even though this motherfucker didn't even get raised in one. He didn't get raised in a normal family. His parents ditched him and his mama raised him, remember? And so this argument somehow that the services that he benefited from as a kid, who was raised by his I believe his maternal mother or his maternal grandmother, he got all those benefits. He got all that help from the government, and now he wants to denigrate that help and say that destroys families.
It is simply true that it's become
No, it isn't.
way too hard to raise a family. Megan, I myself had a lot of step parents when I was growing up. I certainly was enriched by some of those step parents, and frankly, not enriched by others. My own wife is a working mother. You hear leftists say, JD wants to keep women in the home. My own wife, I've supported her career for my entire life.
You don't have a choice, motherfucker. You met her at Yale. She's more qualified than you are.
I'm proud of it. But because I'm proud of it, and because I supported my wife, Megan, I've seen the fact that it's hard to be a working mom, that the corporate world is fun.
Is it hard to be a working dad? Because I got to tell you, it kind of is. As a single dad, yeah, it's a lot. Especially because I have to travel for my work, and it's fucking heartbreaking in a way that it didn't used to be. Travel wise, a lot of times I put myself through the ringer just trying to get back to my kid in as short a time as possible when I'm on the road for a show. And there are shows I can't, I don't turn down, because especially the ones where I'm in the band or we have Sexy Liberal, where if I say no, I'm kicking food out of other people's mouths. And so I can't do that. And so I squeeze every fucking minute I can out of the day, trying to get to that show and get back, and so that I'm away from my kid as little as possible. And as a Democrat, and a lifelong one, and one who will vote for Kamala Harris and Mark Kelly this fall, just fuck you. How do you know? How do you, like, this asshole has no bearing to tell other people what the value of their lives and their relationships with their own children because they don't fit some sort of mold they're supposed to. Is Camden still living with my parents out? No. Camden's in the other room. Camden doesn't live with my parents. My parents don't even live with my parents. This fucker.
Fundamentally hostile to working mothers and working fathers because we have made stupid and bad choices as a country. I want us to make different choices, and I think it's shameful for the Democrats.
Also, what choices are those? The denial of IVF? Because IVF makes children for working parents?
To hide behind their personal circumstances when they have supported policies that have made it harder on working moms and dads, and they're still this very day doing the exact same thing.
You mentioned Usha. Joy Reid, in that montage of media reaction I played, suggested that what your comments get to is that the only valid version of America is a white woman who stays at home. So that's your position, according to her. You only value white stay-at-home moms.
It's just so disgusting, Megan. And look, I love my wife so much. I love her because she's who she is. Obviously, she's not a white person, and we've been attacked by some white supremacists over that. But I love Usha. She's such a good mom. She's such a brilliant lawyer, and I'm so proud of her. But yes, her experience has given me some perspective in the way in which it's really hard for working families in this country.
Do you think America is headed in the right direction?
Yeah, I do. I think Kamala Harris is going to get elected, and that dipshit you just had on is going to be a road bump on the trail of politics that most of us will forget about.
Unfortunately, the next generation does not understand the values that have made America the greatest nation on earth.
Well, as a Democrat, I don't really care, apparently, because I don't care if children ever grow up, and I don't believe in children, and I don't think children are our future, mainly because by the time the future comes, they're adults. I don't want to get technical about it, but
PragerU is helping to counter that.
No, it's not. No, of all things, PragerU is run by a bunch of prags.
PragerU is a conservative nonprofit that promotes American values through
a narrow view of American values.
Educational videos that
educational videos. This is good. You know what? I think I have one of those. No, I don't. I don't care. I know plenty about Prager, and it's interesting that they're paying for her show. You don't think that's weird? Meanwhile, let's jump over to something else real quick, if I may. A couple more. Let's Vance. I got 5 minutes left, so I'm going to keep it tight. Check this out. This is just in case you're wondering, JD Vance. This is him saying that he believes people use abortion just as birth control because they're too cheap to buy condoms or the pill.
I believe in exceptions for life of the mother. I believe in exceptions where you have these incredibly difficult medical circumstances. You just can't tell a young mom who's forced to choose between life and death that you're going to step into that circumstance. The one silver lining here is that is incredibly rare. Thank God it's incredibly rare. The meat of the abortion debate.
Yeah, by the way, have you noticed that infant mortality has gone up in the last since the overturning of Roe v. Wade? You know why that is? Do you think doctors have suddenly not figured out, forgotten how to take care of a newborn with complications? Do you think women and mothers have forgotten how to take care of their children all of a sudden? You think there's a big fucking epidemic of SIDS happening? No. You know what's happening is that in a bunch of states, women are being forced to carry to term unviable fetuses, babies that would never, ever survive outside the womb. And as soon as they are born, they cut the umbilical cord and that child dies in front of the mother with no chance whatsoever, with massive deformities and painful, dangerous pregnancies that could take the fucking mother's life. That's why. The number of viable children is not dying is not going up. The number of women being forced to carry babies to term that don't have lungs and will not be able to breathe the minute you cut the umbilical cord. That's what's happening. Period. And when Trump talks about how, they kill the baby after it's born or whatever, that's what he's talking about. He's talking about those situations, which are increasing. And these poor women, many of whom are put in danger by carrying these fetuses to term, that are never going to be living beings. They're not going to make it. Though, by being forced to carry them to term, are endangering not only their lives, but their ability to have healthy children in the future. So fuck this asshole.
Is not these incredibly unusual circumstances. It's where you have, people using abortion basically as another form of birth control. And I think that's where we've really gone down the wrong path in this country.
Yeah, just gross. Just fucking gross. And that's, look, women, am I right, is essentially it should just be Trump, Vance, women, am I right? Also, real quick, this is, in case anybody's wondering, there's certain situations where I think it'd be okay. Blah, blah, blah. All right, let's check that, shall we?
Do you think it will be resolved nationally? That's Adrian's. He was very serious about it. He was like, it's going to be resolved nationally. And I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I certainly would like abortion to be legal nationally. I don't, Adrian's like a smart lawyer, and I'm not.
Definitely.
Yeah, that was J.D. Vance saying he would certainly like abortion to be illegal nationally. Illegal, not rare, not chat room. Sorry, illegal. And one last one, shall we, before I go? All right, because I got a couple seconds. Yeah, here we go. This is him talking that he believes, and this goes to the IVF thing, in case anybody has any questions about it. Check this out.
So I want to give you an opportunity to clarify that. You had said in the past that two wrongs don't make a right, and that you didn't believe in exceptions for rape or incest. Have you changed your stance on that, given what you said last night?
Well, look, Martha, two wrongs don't make a right, but at the end of the day, I think we live in a democratic society. We live in a society where obviously people are going to disagree about where to draw the line. And I've always been pretty clear, Martha, that legally, I think that we should draw the line, and that in that specific case, that particular girl, I think, should be able to get an abortion.
Yeah, so that was the 10-year-old, I think, was what they were talking about. This is 2 years ago. This is October of 2022. Yeah. And it seems like the two wrongs don't make a right means you cannot, having an abortion when you are raped is two wrongs not making a right. So a girl should be forced to carry that to term. Now, at that point in Ohio, there was a pretty public case that that became kind of the talk of the nation. And let's be abundantly clear. That two wrongs don't make a right idea, and that dodge on the IVF question with Megyn Kelly is just letting you know that the Trump-Vance White House will sign a national abortion ban that does not take into account the rape, incest, or the life of the mother. There may be, because the bill that gets to them has a bit about life of the mother, that they will sign it. And then conservatives on the court will deny that you cannot kill someone else to save another. You cannot kill an innocent life to save someone else's life. And then it will be up to the doctors in that particular situation whether the woman or the baby is worth it. And then they will just guarantee that all religious hospitals will always choose the baby over the mother, and we go back to people's mothers dying in childbirth. I'm just letting you know. All right, I gotta go. I gotta go catch a plane. So love you guys. See you guys on the radio tomorrow. Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. Share, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Thank you guys so much. Sorry I can only do half a show tonight, but you know, I'm a busy guy. I got like stuff to going on, and my biggest worry, I think of all, if I really got to think about it, is that if I go any longer, then the kidney will get me.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart.